Hello, I'm Justin Porter, XJW. Today's date is the 31st of July 2021, and I want to talk about how Russia is persecuting Jehovah's Witnesses. Vladimir Putin stop treating Jehovah's Witnesses in an inhumane way. Jehovah's Witnesses are very beautiful people. They are just misled by religion. And in Russia, Jehovah's Witnesses have been imprisoned just for preaching the Bible. They have been tortured in Russia, tasered, tortured. And please don't ban Jehovah's Witnesses, Vladimir Putin, in Russia, because when you ban something, it just makes it more popular. The 1920s, they banned alcohol in the 1920s, and they had prohibition. America banned alcohol because they thought it was a social ill, alcohol. It just made alcohol more popular, and people like Al Capone were making moonshine, which was very, very strong alcohol. You couldn't get beer or wine, but you could get moonshine, and people were still drinking. More people got drunk in the 1920s in America than any other decade because alcohol was banned. Same with marijuana. If you ban marijuana, it just makes it more popular. People are still going to smoke marijuana, regardless if it's legal. You make it illegal, it just makes it more popular. So banning Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia will make the religion more popular. So the evidence seems to show in the past when Russia and other countries banned Jehovah's Witnesses numbers just went up. Because people are going to be curious, they must be God's people because they've been persecuted. Well, in Russia at the moment, Russia is persecuting Mormons, Muslims, homosexuals, Assemblies of God. All those things are banned in Russia, and they're persecuted too, just as much as Jehovah's Witnesses. And don't treat Jehovah's Witnesses bad, because they have been misled by a book called the Bible. And I often find that the more a religion follows the Bible, the more cult-like the religion is. The more extreme a religion follows the Bible, the more a religion follows the Bible, the more extremist it is. So Jehovah's Witnesses try to stick to the Bible as closely as possible, where the Bible is a cult manual. And just to think of Jesus' words, Jesus said, "Do you think I've come to earth to put peace?" Jesus said, "I've come to put a sword, that a man's enemies will be members of his own household. He that loves mother, father, sister, brother, son or daughter more than me," Jesus, "is not worthy of me." So that seems pretty extremist. Jesus' words seem pretty extremist and cult-like. So the Bible is the world's biggest cult manual. And any religion that follows the Bible closely is very cult-like. Religions that don't follow the Bible as much and say the homosexual is okay, abortion's all right, aren't as cult-like, aren't as culty, and they're more moderate Christian religions. But religions that follow the Bible very closely are extremist. I am a born-again atheist, and I don't believe in the Bible, and I do have a YouTube channel called Justin Porter XJW. Find out why I don't believe in the Bible, and that it is a man-made book full of mythology, and it is just people's imagination explaining the way the world and what they think of the world. So don't ban Jehovah's Witnesses, because you only make them more popular in Russia, And if you ban Jehovah's Witnesses, the governing body, Stephen Lett, David Splain, Kenneth Cook, Gerard Losk, Mark Sanderson, are just going to be rubbing their hands together with glee because, we can make more persecution videos. Because all this banning Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia does, it feeds the persecution complex of Jehovah's Witnesses and reinforces Jehovah's Witnesses' belief that they are the one and true religion. If what Russia should really do is show Jehovah's Witnesses on television and YouTube ex-Jehovah's Witness videos, apostate videos, ex-Jehovah's Witness videos. Jehovah's Witnesses call them apostate videos. If you show these videos to Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia, they'll wake up and think, I was brainwashed, I was under a spell of indoctrination, and the carrot that Jehovah Watchtower uses is everlasting life on a paradise earth, and the stick that Jehovah's Witnesses use of fear, carrot and the stick, donkey, feed it a carrot, it'll walk, hit it with a stick, punishment, reward. So the punishment is eternal extinction. Some Christian religions say you will burn in hell, and it is in the Bible, hellfire, and it is also in the Bible that when we die we cease to exist. The Bible teaches immortal soul in the New Testament, but in the Old Testament it says you're an immortal soul, a mortal soul. So what I want to say is, generally speaking, people who don't want you to think are never your friend. I'll repeat that again. People who don't want you to think are never your friend. Don't think for yourself. Don't question what we tell you. Believe everything we tell you, because we are God's spokespeople. God is speaking through us. We are prophets of God. Believe exactly what we say, because what we tell you has come directly from the divine creator of the universe. And people are so brainwashed into believing, why would a God that hides himself in the pages of a book speak to certain men about divine truths and not speak to other people about these divine truths? If God was really real, why does he hide in the pages of an ancient book? So what I want to say is, people who don't want you to think are never your friends. So, and anyone that claims to have special knowledge of God, that they have been divinely inspired by God, it's just false, and question it. Even Satan was quite good. Full marks to Satan for saying to Adam and Eve, is it really so that God has told you not to eat of the forbidden fruit? I mean, what was wrong with that question? What was wrong? What? God has put a hand grenade in the Garden of Eden? Because that's what the forbidden fruit was. It was a hand grenade that was going to kill them and cause them harm. Is it really so that God's left a hand grenade in the Garden of Eden? Really? Why would he do that? That's just so. And the Bible doesn't want you to question. It doesn't want to use your power of thinking. If I was to say, like if a telemarketer rang you up and said, look, we're going to put some money in your bank account. Yeah? All we need is your bank account details. We are telling you the truth, and we are inspired by God. Would you believe it? Of course you wouldn't believe it. Why do you believe in an ancient book that these men have written and they said they were inspired by God, God's channel? How do we find out about God anyway? From a book, an ancient book? No. If you look in nature, the natural world, you can see that God really likes insects, because out of all the living creatures, there's more insects in the world than any other creature. Insects are the number one creature on earth. He loves insects. And God must particularly love beetles, because in the insect world there's more varieties of beetle than any other insect. So God likes the beetles. And he likes beetles, so that's interesting. He's made a hell of a lot of beetles. And when you look at nature, the basic rule of nature is pretty cruel. God is pretty cruel. It's eat or be eaten. Eat or be eaten. So these animals that get eaten, think of a mouse. Our cat, Squidgy, we have a cat called Squidgy. She catches a mouse and she torments the mouse. She plays with the mouse, she hits it around with her claws, throws it up in the air, plays with it while it's still alive. This poor little mouse dies in utter fear and agony. This little mouse doesn't have a nice death. It's not quick, it's fear and agony. And God made the cat, so Jehovah God made Squidgy, my cat, to torment a poor little mouse. Poor little mouse dies in fear and agony. So when you think of a lion eating a zebra, that poor zebra suffers so much fear and pain being eaten alive. Could you imagine being eaten alive by a lion or a shark? Where people have been. So that's God. God created those horrible things. And even David Attenborough, a naturalist, he was asked by Christians, why don't you ever give glory to God in your nature documentaries? And David Attenborough said, if you look at the horrible, painful deaths that animals go through by being eaten and preyed upon, and also the horrible animals like the Irukandji jellyfish that causes so much extreme pain, the funnel-web spider that kills people, the mosquito that kills more people than any other animal. The mosquito is allowed to have blood transfusions, but children of Jehovah's Witnesses can't have blood transfusions. So the mosquito can have a blood transfusion. God actually created a mosquito with a syringe, actually liquefies the blood. There's leeches, there's vampire bats, there's ticks and fleas, can all have blood transfusions. So that's what I wanted to say. And with the Garden of Eden, in the Garden of Eden, what type of fruit was it that Adam and Eve ate? Most religions and people say it was an apple. An apple. Well, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. The apple a day keeps God away. Why is it an apple? Was it a pumpkin tree? Maybe God should have put pumpkins on the ground instead of making trees. Was it a pineapple? What type of fruit was it? A forbidden fruit. So Jehovah God punished Adam and Eve's descendants with suffering and pain, and plunged the animal kingdom into suffering and pain, because they believed because Adam and Eve ate the fruit that's why lions and tigers eat meat and have caused so much suffering to other animals. And, what type of fruit was it, And did you know the Egyptians, I found out that the Egyptians may have created the Adam and Eve story. The Egyptians, Achaman, the Egyptian pharaoh, and Nefertiti, his wife, used to walk around naked in a garden of Arden, not Garden of Eden, a garden of Arden, and that they got expelled from Egypt. They got kicked out of Egypt, kicked out of this garden that they used to walk around naked. So the Adam and Eve story may have come from that legend that's pre-Bible times, So all these stories are copied. All the Bible writers had different ideas when they wrote things in the Bible. The Bible has many authors and was written over many centuries. None of them were harmonious at all, you know. They all have different beliefs and different agendas. That's why Christians argue amongst themselves. Oh, our interpretation of the Bible is correct. Your interpretation of the Bible is incorrect. You know, I do have a video on the contradictions of the Bible too. Now, just look at more of my notes. So if Russia is persecuting Jehovah's Witnesses, homosexuals, Muslims, Russia is also persecuting Amish, Mormons, Assemblies of God, and Scientologists, because they're all American religions. They're all American religions. And China is actually persecuting Muslims. The Uyghur minority in China has been persecuted, locked up in concentration camps in China, and they're Muslims. So Muslims have been persecuted in China. Now, in the book of Revelation, it speaks of a dragon persecuting people, Satan the devil persecuting people. A lot of religious organizations view China as the dragon because the dragon is China's emblem. So is the dragon persecuting true worshippers of God, the Muslims? The Muslims must be the right religion because the Chinese dragon is persecuting God's people, the Muslims, because the Muslims believe that they are God's people. Don't forget that. Muslims believe that Christians have got it wrong, and Muslims believe that Christians are going to go to the Muslim hell and burn in hell, and Allah will give them brand new skins when their skin burns off. Allah will give them brand new skin to be all burned up again. And also, Muslims believe that Muhammad was taken up to heaven at the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. The angel Gabriel took Muhammad up to heaven in the year 622 AD, and Muhammad wrote the book, the Quran, inspired by God, and that Muhammad was God's spokesperson. So the Muslims believe that Muhammad was God's spokesperson, just like the Christians believe Jesus was the God's spokesperson. And Jehovah's Witnesses believe that Stephen Lett, Tony Morris, Gerard Losk, Mark Sanderson, David Splain, Kenneth Cook, Samuel Hurd are God's spokesmen. 8 dudes in New York City. So that's all I wanted to say today. And my wife at the moment is in a Zoom meeting of Jehovah's Witnesses, my beautiful wife. And that's all I want to say. And yes, and also, why do Russia view Jehovah's Witnesses as extreme? For one thing, the blood transfusion issue. Think of that. If mosquitoes can have blood transfusions, leeches can have blood transfusions, vampire bats can have blood transfusions, ticks can have blood transfusions, yeah. Why can't Jehovah's Witnesses have blood transfusions? Hey? And so Jehovah's Witnesses are extremist in that way, shunning people who leave the religion. The governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, the faithful and discreet slave, the 8 men in New York City, can change their mind over doctrine and come up with new light. Come up with new light, right? New light, and change their doctrine. But if a Jehovah's Witness questions their doctrine and say, well, I don't agree with the overlapping generation, I don't agree with shunning my son or daughter or mother or father because they live in a certain way or have a different belief. I don't believe in that. You will be disfellowshipped. So the governing body can change their doctrine and call it New Light, but Jehovah's Witnesses can't question that doctrine and change their mind on their beliefs. And also the two-witness rule when it comes to child molestation. Jehovah's Witnesses said there must be 2 witnesses to every sin. And child molestation is a crime. It's not a sin. It is a crime and locked up in jail for it. It's a crime, not a sin. And saying that there should be 2 witnesses to every sin, well, the 2-witness rule just doesn't. That is extremist. The 2-witness rule is extreme, like blood transfusions, shunning family members who no longer believe or live in a certain lifestyle, and also condemning homosexuals. There's a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses and a lot of Christians and a lot of religious people who were born homosexuals. Homosexuality is a genetic mutation. It's a genetic mutation that is, anyone could have been born homosexual. Anyone. It's a genetic thing. Homosexuality has nothing to do with choice. It's all about genetics. And why does God allow people to be born homosexual and then punish them afterward by them having their family shun them, and their friends shun them? So homosexuality, you can see that in nature. I've seen girl cows mount other girl cows to have sex with. I've seen the dairy cows, a girl cow trying to have sex with another girl cow, and some monkeys do it and things like that. I am heterosexual, but I love homosexual people, and I believe that they're born that way. They didn't choose to be that way, they're born that way, So that's all I really wanted to say today. I think I've covered everything. And I don't think Jehovah's Witnesses should be banned in Russia, because if you ban something, it only makes it more popular. Well, murder, for instance. Murder is banned, and how popular is murder? You ban something, it just makes it so much more popular. So don't ban Russia. Vladimir Putin, please don't ban Jehovah's Witnesses or Muslims or Mormons or Scientology or homosexuality, because whatever you ban, it just makes it a lot more popular. The best way, as I've said before, to educate Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia and all around the world is ex-Jehovah's Witness videos. Get Jehovah's Witnesses to watch ex-Jehovah's Witness videos, and they leave the religion pretty quick. And why is the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses so obsessed with apostate videos? Oh, don't watch anything apostate. Don't listen to apostate, because beware, the apostates may be telling you the truth. That's the end of my video. You may applaud.